Alienation is a game by Finnish developer Housemarque, and if I was to describe it in just one sentence, I would say that it's Dead Nation mixed with Diablo. So you have the twin stick shooter element of Dead Nation mixed with the sort of world design and loot and challenges that would be better associated with something like Diablo 3. If you played Dead Nation, you kind of got the sense that this was where they were going with it, and Alienation takes it in such a deep way that I was surprised when I started playing it, but by the time I finished, I was absolutely hooked by its core gameplay loop, which is incredibly satisfying. So the game features only 20 missions, and it will only take a few hours to complete, but you have 3 classes, 3 difficulty modes, and as well as that, a hardcore mode where if your character dies, it's pretty much gone. So you've got a lot of options to sort of play through the game over and over again, and honestly, the map design never really gets boring, and the game throws a lot of extra mechanics and ways to sort of keep you invested in the game, to stop you sort of just rushing through the mission. So after a certain point in the game, you will unlock challenges that will be featured in the world, and this is sort of ways to bring in more gameplay to an area rather than just going from area to area completing objectives, and they're not always that easy. You will die plenty of times in this game, but the respawn system sort of means there's no real penalty to dying, but that doesn't mean it sort of takes away the fun of the game itself, because Housemarque once again have perfected controls to an extent that it doesn't matter if you're going through actually the same level. You won't really care because the gameplay itself is so much fun. And as you level up, you unlock new abilities for your character, and each class is actually quite different from one another, and you can play every level alone, or as you start the mission you can pick from a list of people who are currently in the game and you can just jump straight in, and it works incredibly well. It's seamless nearly. You've just got to go to a loading screen and you can join. And you can join at any point in the mission, and that sort of makes it very easy to sort of just jump in and out of levels and sort of enjoy it. But yeah, as you kill enemies, you gain XP, and as you gain XP you level up. But enemies will also drop loot in the form of weapons, and these weapons can actually be upgraded by resources that are actually dropped on the ground as well by enemies or completing these challenges. And sort of that every couple of levels you will pretty much change your entire loadout. It's pretty fun to sort of grab and find a new legendary weapon or a rare weapon and put its stats in and see its effects and watch the aliens go down. And speaking of watching, the game is absolutely fantastic looking. So maybe disappointing to know that the game is running actually at 30 frames a second, but honestly it's really for a better cause, because visually the game is incredible, and it's even that visual flair that will keep you playing, because it just looks so good watching certain enemies explode and like a neon colour just fly out of them, or just dozens of bodies go flying when you throw a grenade or use one of your special abilities. And Alienation is quite a bit like another game that Sony released last year called Hellblazers. What was it called? It was one of them, sorry. But that was fun, but it was very much about it being difficult, and there's friendly fire, and it got pretty frustrating when you jumped into a multiplayer game, because if you had one player that just wasn't that good, then it kind of ruined the whole experience for everyone. And Alienation is very much based on playing with friends or with other people, but it doesn't punish you for not being the best at the game. You sort of can always revive one another and all that, and that sort of togetherness, and sort of the multiplayer does make it more fun, because eventually you may feel it get a little laborious here and there, but other than that it's still incredibly fun on your own, but with other people. And when the difficulty ramps up and there's enemies swarming everywhere and the horde comes and there are just dozens of enemies making their way towards you, and they can take you out pretty quickly as well, and just having a good team and even just having a team can make the fun even better. But Alienation is just one of the best games I've probably played this year. It's solely down to its incredible combat and responsive and brilliant, almost perfected controls. But yeah, Alienation is something that I found very hard to put down.